Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Sonic Rush Adventure for the Nintendo DS. So, last time, we essentially did manage to explore into the 9 remaining hidden islands, so naturally speaking, we somehow tackled through every single stages of how this game actually has to offer. So, relatively speaking, everything else goes all like hunky-dory and everything. So, anyways, today for this video is about the fact that we're going to be continuing things on, and straight to the point, we might able to actually get started with the 6 remaining Johnny races in journey forms of how the fact that we can able to be collecting the 6 remaining Chaos Emeralds. So, before I do that though, I need to give certain rings to this guy right here to able to actually add it in yet another decoration into the southern island, and this time what appears to be that particular flag on top of that particular Deep Typhoon building right there. So naturally speaking, I was about the fact that at this point in time, I think that's as far as we can go for the sake of the forms of trying to decorate some aspects when it comes to the forms of Southern Island. So, generally speaking, that's as far as I can try to able to say about this, I guess. So, either way, with that being said though, it's about the fact, as I mentioned this before, that when it comes to achieving the Soul Emeralds, is that you need to talk to this guy right here on the right, on Ocean Tornado, and that way if you keep on asking him about quite a few times, that way you can able to actually unlock the remaining missions for the Soul Emeralds collecting. And as far as I'm aware, naturally speaking, there are all 7 of these Soul Emerald missions. So, like, I'll discuss more about the forms of collecting these Soul Emeralds until, to be more specifically, until on Monday. So as far as I'm aware, it's about the fact that, yes, today's date, of course, there is the 19th of July today, in some cases in 2024 today, and it looks like we've only got about 1 week left until the opening ceremony is about to start, specifically for the Paris Olympics 2024. So I'm sure about the fact that I'm going to be excited about this, and yeah, I'm sure about the fact that, well, for those of you who are the Olympic fans out there, will be also be very excited for it. So, anyway, so as you can tell, yes, I did somehow manage to grind as many of those materials as I could, including the black material, so just to ensure for the fact that we can able to actually upgrade the first upgrade for the Aqua Blast, and also say applies with the forms of Deep Typhoon, and even not to mention though, I can able to actually say this right now, we can able to actually do the final upgrade for the Wave Cyclone, because again, getting the second upgrade for Wave Cyclone is mandatory, by the way, if you really want to see the best ending of the game, especially noticeable if you're trying to get all the Chaos Emeralds. Well, mind you about the fact that we've already collected one of them since the beginning portion of the game, so I don't think it's possible we can able to actually replay through the first Johnny race again, because, well, we've already technically done it since the beginning portion of the game, just before the 3rd zone, which is of course Coral Cave. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and upgrade our, Wave Cyclone for the final time, so fundamentally that'll be enough materials as it is. So naturally speaking, I think we should be all set when it comes to participating for the remaining 6 races against with Johnny. So naturally speaking, we can now start to be collecting the 6 remaining Chaos Emeralds. So yeah, it doesn't matter which ones I'm going to be tackling through for this point, especially concerning for the fact that, well, basically I'm all set when it comes to collecting all of these Chaos Emeralds at this point. So, and don't worry, I'll be back for trying to go into these missions right there. Well, mind you about the fact that I'll explain about the forms of certain other mission types until later on, to be more specifically on Monday, but yeah. So there's quite a few things I would like to mention about before we get this entire 6 remaining races started. First of all, I obviously try to recommend the Aqua Blast or Wave Cyclone, depending on what specific destination you're about to go into. So, for instance, it's about the fact that in order able to find, well, as you can see right there, that if you see that little cross on that particular Johnny icon, this means that we've already accomplished that. So we need to find another Johnny race. Like, for example, if you come across into this spot right here and draw the actual specific line for it, that way it actually signifies about the fact that that's what Johnny spots are. So, but then again though, is about the fact that we have to go for a lot of sailing at this point, and quite frankly though, this will be the final time they're able to actually start to be doing a lot of sailing at this point, because after we somehow managed able to get every single Chaos Emerald, then obviously though, we are basically done every single aspect when it comes to sailing. So as a result, until on Monday, as well as probably on Wednesday and stuff like that, then obviously though, we'll just have to able to go through self-explanatory stuff. So either way though, and I suppose you probably already noticed from the start though, is about the fact that the actual uploading schedules is about to change a little bit, to be more specifically until next week or so, because like I said before, it's about the fact that we've only got 1 week left until the Paris Olympics 2024 is about to start. So either way, okay, so it looks like we're about to be getting the Yellow Chaos Emerald, so this is technically the 3rd race of all the 7 races in Journey forms of Johnny versus races and stuff like that. So, anyways though, as far as I'm aware, is about the fact that when it comes to later Johnny races, as far as I'm aware, it gets a little bit tricky at some form or another, and that's also is the reason why it's best able to recommend get a fully upgraded Wave Cyclone, so just in case about the fact that not only it does not drain the boost gauge all that quickly, but it's also about the fact that you can go a lot faster. So as a result, for the most part with the Yellow Chaos Emerald run is actually self-explanatory right there. I mean, obviously though, it's about the fact that Johnny decides they're able to actually boost every once in a while, so relatively speaking, yeah, this particular race is a piece of cake. So, but it wasn't until whenever we get into race number 6, alongside with race number 7, this is where things gets really tough and difficult. So either way, so yeah, we got ourselves the 2nd Chaos Emerald, despite the fact that we somehow got ourselves the Yellow Chaos Emerald, but that's okay, because it really doesn't matter what emeralds we're going to able to acquire it with. So either way, so let's move on to the next Johnny race. So I think the next Johnny spot is actually right over towards, well, obviously it's going to be on this spot right here, almost right near to Southern Island. So I believe, as far as I'm aware, that the 7th race is going to be a lot further away, so obviously we'll try to figure something out if we manage able to keep on collecting some more Chaos Emeralds. So I mean, after all, we've only got 5 races left, including 5 emeralds left as far as this is concerned. So, anyways though, also, as far as I'm aware, is about the fact that one of those games in particular has recently got its confirmed release for the Nintendo Switch, and that game in questioning is yet another EA Sports game, and as a result, this time around though, what appears to be by the forms of EA Sports FC 25 has been confirmed for Switch, and as far as I'm usually concerned, I did not exactly know about the release date for that game, but I'm sure enough that was about the fact that I'll let Coco Bandicoot will mention more about it during at some point until tomorrow for the sake of going back onto WarioWare Move It. So, but anyways though, it's time to move on to the next race, and this time we're about to be obtaining the Blue Chaos Emerald. This is, as far as I'm aware, it's going to be the 2nd race normally. So because of that though, yeah, every once in a while though, is about the fact that we always have to make sure we need to save up the boost as wisely as possible. Now, there's another thing I want to classify for mentioning about this, is that if you dare lose the race, or essentially if you keep on getting hit a lot, that you can able to actually have the ability to retry the actual battle race. So this is technically the first time ever in a Sonic game, technically speaking, you can able to actually retry the actual special stage if you decide to go after the Chaos Emerald, which it will continue that tradition for the future Sonic games, ranging from Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, alongside with Episode 2, and there's also with the forms of, I would say, Sonic Colors on the DS or something. Well, mind you, I haven't exactly touched upon on Sonic Colors on the DS for quite a while, but hopefully I will do at some point once we're able to actually, you know, catch up on more uploading schedules for the time being. So, anyway, so the 3rd Chaos Emerald has been obtained, so only 4 more to go. So of course, this might take a bit of while when it comes to likely trying to able to go from place to place at one form or another, but I'm sure enough though is about the fact that once we're done with the forms of those Johnny races and stuff like that, then obviously though we can able to replay them as many times as you wanted to. So either way though, that's how about the fact that, oh, I think the next emerald should be around in here, or to be more specifically, the next Johnny location is going to be just around here, so... And I think suffice to say for this point, guys, this will be the final timetable to see Aqua Blast, including Wave Cyclone in action, because as far as I'm aware, once we collected all 7 Chaos Emeralds, then like I said before, we are basically done sailing, because as far as I'm aware, I'm sure there's actually a method you can able to actually go back onto the forms of certain zones, thanks to the forms of the actual sea chat, because if you manage to able to tap onto the green dot, if you actually enter in the forms of sea chat, you can able to actually dive into the actual level straight away or something, rather than just going through sail to sail every single moment's worth noting for. So, at least as far as I was going to be thinking about anyway. Well, mind you, I did manage to play this game on my own time for a bit, just in case I can able to actually just to like, well, trying to improve certain of my ranks and all that stuff. So, anyway, so the next race we're going to be able to participating in, and as a result, we're going to be collecting the Grey Chaos Emerald. So, I'm pretty sure this is technically race number 5, even though despite the fact that this is the 4th race we can do from now on. So, yeah, every once in a while though, they're now going to be able to actually bring ourselves a lot of tricky obstacles, including with the forms of certain rocks, and eventually at one point, that Johnny decides to toss in a lot of mine bombs here and there, so you have to able to go for like faster reflexes, and also at the same time, you really don't want to go too close to him, because otherwise though, not only about the fact that if he dare boosts, naturally though, if you don't boost at all, you can actually get hit by him, so as a result, it actually deals like 50% damage to you, so as a result though, we definitely have to watch out for Johnny's boost, because as far as I'm aware, if you dare get hit by Johnny's boost, then obviously though, you do a massive amount of damage to yourself, so yeah, you don't want to let that happen, don't you? Then there's our 4th Chaos Emerald, so naturally we've only got 3 Chaos Emeralds to go. And also about the fact that we've got 3 more Johnny races left. So yeah, we are basically almost done with the forms of collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds at this point, folks. Especially concerning for the fact that unlike in Sonic Advance 1, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3, including Sonic Rush as well, basically though, we always have to able to be collecting one of those Chaos Emeralds in each and every single zones. And as far as I'm aware, that could be also applied with Sonic Colors on the DS, including Sonic Generations for the 3DS, if we get around on doing the forms of those Let's Plays, as far as I'm aware. To be more specifically, a redo Let's Play of Sonic Generations for the 3DS, just before Sonic Cross Shadow Generations will be releasing during that time. And as far as Sonic Colors on the DS though, obviously though, we'll save that particular topic if we finish up the forms of Sonic Rush Adventure first. So, anyways though, so let's move on to the next race, somewhere nearby the forms of one of those hidden islands, potentially. So, anyways though, and also, since we did somehow manage able to upgrade ourselves with the forms of Aqua Blast, this means about the fact that you know with the forms of the charge gauge on the top right corner on the bottom screen, thankfully though, if you're trying to hold down the actual touchscreen, the charge bar actually goes by a lot faster. So yeah, that's actually pretty swell, especially we don't have to worry about the forms of some little cooldown effect here and there. So I very least appreciate about this, and I'm almost going to be dying again with that particular Aqua Blast segment right there, but thankfully though, we did somehow made it. So I'm guessing this correctly is that we're about to be getting the Green Chaos Emerald next. So, and as far as I'm aware, is about the fact that when it comes to like, well, let's just say, race number 7 is going to be a little bit further away. So hopefully I'll try to figure something out, like I said before. And, in addition to that though, is about the fact that when it comes to race number 6, I think it's actually not too far for the sake of Sky Babylon when it comes to that particular destination worth noting for. So, anyways though, and as far as I'm aware, this will be a true definition of the final time we're going to be seeing, well, technically not just yet though, but that honor goes to the forms of one of those Soul Emerald missions for specifically for Blaze only. Yes, I was going to mention about this for the sake of time, because as far as I'm aware, when it comes to tackling for those Soul Emerald missions, you obviously have to be forced to be playing as Blaze the Cat the whole way through, because she's the only one that she can able to be collecting Soul Emeralds, whilst meanwhile for Sonic, can only collect Chaos Emeralds by competing against with Johnny himself. So either way, there goes the 5th Chaos Emerald alongside with the 5th Johnny race. So only 2 Chaos Emeralds left and 2 more races to go. So I can't even believe the actual process is going a lot more faster than I was expecting. So I do appreciate about that. But if you think we are done here, obviously though, the quickest way to able to go back into the village though is not restart, but if you pause the game right there, you can simply just return back to the village, and as a result, you can do this process a lot faster. So, because for whatever reason, when Sonic has managed able to first do not even realize about the fact that he did not know that feature does exist anyway. So, anyways though, as far as getting to the one of those Johnny locations is that we have to do this, and that's all we have to do for this point. I know there's actually another alternative way to do this, and that's what appears to be only utilizing with Deep Typhoon, but I'm obviously still stick around with Aqua Blast, because obviously though, Aqua Blast is, you know, pretty cool to use, despite the fact that, well, obviously though, the damage output is a little bit too high for my liking, if you manage to accidentally run into those specific rocks, that is. So, but anyway though, there's also another thing I want to mention about this as well. Actually, as it turns out, it's official about the fact that recently, Inside Out 2 has outgrossed Super Mario Bros. Movie at the worldwide box office, and it's now the 2nd biggest animated film of all time when it comes to the forms of the actual box office department. Well, at least in terms of the forms of the animated films, not counting the live-action version of The Lion King. Oh, and talking of which though, actually, yeah, unfortunately to tell you for this point guys, unhappy 5th anniversary of the film's release of the 2019 live-action movie of The Lion King, and I'm gonna say, that film is dull, and I did not enjoy it anymore. But thankfully though, Inside Out 2 did somehow cheer me up a lot, especially because, like I said before, that, you know, it's doing really well when it comes to the box office department, not just by the forms of the actual film itself, but it's now, you know, the 2nd most popular animated film of all time when it comes to the box office earnings. So, okay, so we're now going to be collecting the purple Chaos Emerald, so this is technically the 7th and the final race, at least depending on what order you go into. So, but something tells me about the fact that we'll get the light blue Chaos Emerald for last, so I don't mind about it too much. So anyway, let's just go and, oh jeez, there's so many rocks. But thankfully though, I will admit though right away, is that this particular attempt right there, despite the fact that I have no idea what the heck is going on with the phone's screen capture recording, but obviously it's about the fact that it's usually because of how the fact I just usually decide able to go through like boost to win kind of syndrome. So yeah, again, if you're a little bit behind, well obviously though, if you keep on collecting certain rings, including certain stuff you can do, like you can able to actually boost through not only certain enemies, but also with these mine bombs here and there, you can able to actually easily decide able to catch up at one point. And every once in a while though is about the fact that Johnny loves able to actually spam a lot of boost every now and then. But thankfully though, I did the actual race on the first try. Although unlike the forms of how it does it on this schizophrenic Special Stage 7, not just by the forms of Sonic Advance 1, but as well as Sonic Advance 2, and even especially noticeable with Sonic Advance 3, even with Sonic Rush, potentially, they actually did took me about a couple of tries, especially concerning how difficult that particular special stage was. So, anyway, so that pretty much does it for race number 6 as far as our progressioning itself goes, even though technically we somehow got the purple Chaos Emerald. So now let's move on to the final Johnny race somewhere nearby against with not only with Sky Babylon, but also with the forms of Hidden Island 2 as well. So potentially we can now able to actually get ourselves the 7th and the final Chaos Emerald. Now, out of all the actual Johnny races in this particular game actually has to offer, I will say the final one we're going to be entering right now is by far the hardest one of the bunch. I'm not exactly sure how to explain about this, potentially speaking of personally though, but thankfully though, this will be the final time to able to be doing some sailing. So, once we make our way to this point, we finally made it to Johnny race number 7. So, yeah, let's get to it. Okay, quick go right there, sorry about that folks, because my god, this race, I'm not gonna lie, is actually really hard, especially considering for the fact that not only because there are so many obstacles in your way, but also about the fact that I will admit it though right away, is that, well, Johnny can sometimes feel a bit too overpowered in this particular race. So, yeah, as you can tell, I did somehow restart this particular battle race as far as this is concerned, and still, it's incredibly difficult, which I will say is by far the hardest special stage in the entire game so far, especially concerning for the fact that, concerning this is special stage 6, technically speaking, but it's just about the fact that unlike in, well, the Purple Chaos Emerald battle race, I honestly have no issues whatsoever, despite the fact that obviously though, the beginning portion is a bit of a struggle, although as you can tell, that obviously I'm almost gonna get wrecked by Johnny right there, because again, sometimes though, it's about the fact that where these bomb placements are, you know, really too much for my liking, and on top of that, I did somehow lost that particular race right there, so, oh jeez, oh man. Well, third time lucky, I guess, even though, again, despite the fact that, again, that you have to be extra careful with all this particular obstacles that you definitely have to dodge at all times, so, but yeah, like I said before, it's about the fact that we can able to retry as many times as we wanted to this time around, because unlike in, well, the majority of the special stages in the past Sonic games, you only have one try in order to able to actually succeed the actual special stages, unless if you really want to curious able to try this multiple times during the forms of multiple run-throughs within, like, you know, Sonic Events 2, as well as Sonic Events 3. Oh jeez, don't even get me started on the forms of the special stage rings, alongside with finding every single Chao and getting the special stage key in the process when it comes to both Sonic Events 2 as well as Sonic Events 3. Although thankfully for Sonic Events 1, it's self-explanatory, at least thankfully though you can able to easily try to memorize to try to find these special springs as both Tails or Knuckles, because obviously though those two characters are... Oh! Did I make it? Yes I did! Whew! Oh jeez, that was a close call right there. I think the hardest part about this particular race to me though is the ending sequence, because, well, from what I can tell, it's almost like a dang close call between me and Johnny. So either way, there's the 7th and the final Chaos Emerald. So basically, you know what that means? Well, we are basically done collecting every single Chaos Emeralds, including we've beaten Johnny 7 times with the forms of those Johnny races. So yeah, all it needs now is all 7 Soul Emeralds. And if you're probably wondering what's up with the forms that question marks of that particular menu selection right there, well, I'll explain more about that if we somehow managed able to move on to the next video at some point on next Monday. So suffice to say for this point, folks, is that we're getting things off this point right here. So join me next time for more Let's Play of Sonic Rush Adventure. Is that we're about to be start to be doing some missions and collecting these Soul Emeralds. So I'll see you guys until on Monday. Later, fellas.